It's overwhelming. I want to leave this house. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Are you seeing my face for the first time? Are you sure? Okay, welcome. My name is Cynthia, and on my channel I talk about nursing because I'm a nurse in the UK. Living my minimal life. I talk about beauty, I talk about lifestyle. I actually do anything that interests me. And if you're seeing my face for the first time, just welcome. I can't wait to keep you informed. I can't wait to keep you engaged actually. So as you guys know, I like sharing my experience. I like helping people. I like explaining everything, especially for overseas nurses that are coming to the UK to work, or anybody that is quite new in the UK and don't really know where to start or something. Like, I'm new in this country, so I like sharing my experience on my YouTube channel. So that's why I'm bringing this topic today about my rent, about my apartment, about how I feel about it all, the pros and cons of renting here in the UK. So I've been living in this accommodation. I've been living here for the past 2 years now, and roughly 2 years. It's gonna be 2 years in August. So yeah, so I've been living here for 2 years now, and at this point I think I'm fed up really, because it's not really the best for me. So I'm renting from a letting agency. So if you don't know what a letting agency is, in the UK you either rent from a landlord or an agency. So I will actually try to explain this to and tell you the difference between the both of them. Private landlord could just be someone that just have his or her own house or property, and then you're just renting directly from him. You went to him, you're like, oh, I want to rent your house, or he came to you and like, I've got an apartment for people to rent, can you rent it, or something like that. Like, you know the landlord basically. But then for a letting agency, you might not really know your landlord, so you get your apartments through an agency that advertises it and shows you around and does everything for you. So you don't even know your landlord. Sometimes you might know your landlord. In my case, I do know my landlord, but when it comes to repairs and stuff, so I have to go through the company and stuff like that. So that's basically the difference between a private landlord and company. Having a private landlord can have lots of advantages. You can, one of them could be you deal directly with your landlord, so you just know who your landlord is, you know when to call him. You, even when you call him, at least he can hear the tone of your voice and you can hear his own. So you guys are really interacting directly together, yeah. And secondly, you can have this good relationship with your landlord, and then you can really tell him anything you want, good rapport and everything. Sometimes it could help you when you need a repair and you need an urgent repair. Yeah, you can just call your landlord and he will fix it up for you. And the advantage of having a private landlord is that you can actually meet your landlord before your tenancy starts. So when it comes to letting agencies, the one advantage that is the main one and very important is they have a regulated body. So they have a regulation, codes of conduct, and you have to abide by these rules and regulations provided by the authority. Yeah, so when it comes to letting agencies, they have regulations that they abide with, so this makes it more kind of better and more kind of secure. They're more likely to know about legal procedures or anything happening around, so they're more informed about the legalities of things in this country, and they are easily contacted. So say when you have issues with your with anything in your house or your apartment, you can easily contact the company and they can fix it up for you. They have many staff working for them. It's not about just one person who is the landlord. It's about a company, it's about reputation, it's about lots of staff working for this company. So whenever you need a repair or whenever you need an urgent something to be fixed up for you, you can just ring the company and they'll be there to answer you, unlike a private landlord who can tell you that, oh sorry, I'm on holiday, and you can do nothing. Letting agencies can do the hard job of tracking down your landlord for you. So for example, if your landlord didn't do what he told you he was gonna do before you rented the apartment, or there was a breach of contract or a breach of anything by your landlord, is the job of the letting agency is to track down your landlord for you, and you just rest and wait for them to do it for you, really. When it comes to renting your house or your apartment from letting agencies, I'll tell you the truth, they can be quite dishonest, they can be quite annoying, and they can be quite irritating. let's address the elephant in the room. It can be expensive. So in England, I think this has been scrapped off last year, 2019. Yeah, so last year they stopped letting agencies from collecting things like admin fees, referencing fees and stuff like that. But unfortunately, people in Wales or those ones that live in Wales still have to go through this process of paying for admin fees, paying for referencing. Like, this makes it a whole lot of things to do. Like, you have to spend money to do them in order to get your apartment. Sometimes the downside of renting from a letting agency could be misinformation or delayed information. So the letting agency acts like the link between me or the renter and the landlord. So sometimes there could be a misinformation from the landlord or from the tenant. So this actually does affect either the landlord or the tenant in the house. So all this comes into play, and they're all subjective, to be honest. It doesn't have to be what I said, but it's the general thingy. And from experience and from being a tenant for the past 2 years in UK, I can tell you that all these are what I found out. One of the disadvantages of having a private landlord is they don't really know the law. So my friend was living somewhere. She had an apartment with a private landlord, and when they had issues, like, the landlord was like, I can't really help, because he doesn't even know the implication of what he's doing. Sometimes the private landlords can take matters into their hands. So not even sometimes, but all the time, because they're the decision makers, isn't it? So they can always tell you what they want you to do. They can tell you off whenever they want to. Like, the decision is theirs to make, if that makes sense. So it's theirs, it's their house, it's their apartment. Sometimes they might not be responsive. So now when it comes to me, I got my apartment through a letting agency. A company owns the apartment, and then they gave it to a letting agency to help them to advertise and to do the renting jobs and the filling in of papers, the forms, the Lego thing is. So I got it from a letting agency basically. But then I knew my landlord, because when I came for viewing of the apartment, I think I met with the landlord that day, so he came around as well to show me everything, and that was cool with me. It was fine. I was quite excited about the house. I couldn't even wait to get in. Like, the feeling of, oh, that's my apartment, like that feeling. So it's actually my first apartment in the UK, so I was very, very excited. I was very, very okay with everything. Everything was perfect until, so at a point I got disgusted by everything happening. So when you rent your house or your apartment from a letting agency, guys, just be ready for inspection, because they're always coming every day to inspect. They're always trying to book a survey. They're always trying to see what's happening in your house. At a point I went for, I think I have got an appointment in the hospital, and then they called me to say, oh, I'm at your door and I'm about to do some survey in your house. I'm like, how? But I can't remember being told by you guys that you're coming. They said actually they're meant to do the survey that day, so I had to like rush back home. And then I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but I had to rush back home immediately after my appointment and then open the door for them to inspect whatever they're inspecting. So in essence, if you're renting your apartment from a letting agency, just be ready for assessments, just be ready for surveys, be ready for inspection now and then and all of that. So for me, that's fine. Okay, it's okay to see what's happening. It's okay to see if any repair is needed, but I think it's getting too much. It's like almost every month, and even sometimes 2 times in a month. Like, it's over. Sometimes I'm like telling them off. Like, sometime January this year, I got a letter saying that, because our car park here, we don't really pay for it. I know some places you have to pay for car parks and stuff like that, but here we don't pay for it. And I'm so surprised this January they just sent us a letter to say that it's going to be increased. Like, not even going to be increased. We have to start paying for it. I think about 100 quid per year, so 100 pounds per year or something like that. So but they sent the letter. I'm like, but we didn't know we are meant to pay. You know what I mean? Like, even if we have to pay, it should be from a lesser amount, then increase it, and then stuff like that. Gradually it increases. But then this one, it's just went like, you guys have to pay 100 pounds per year. So I don't think it goes well with me. And because I can't really talk to my landlord directly. I think if you have a landlord and this is happening, you can actually just call the landlord and be like, I don't really understand what is happening, what's going on, and he can explain to you. But I rented from a letting agency, so I don't have that direct contact with my landlord. I could actually call the number on the letter, but I just thought that it's a waste of time really, because even when I call, I still have to pay the money, and I just left the call. I didn't call, to be honest. I also got a letter to say my council tax was increased. So I and my husband, we normally pay 200 pounds per month. So now they want to increase it to I think 206 pounds, 206, yeah. So I'm like, why all these increments now? It doesn't really sit down well with me. I'm still trying to wrap my head around all the payment increasing and everything, and then it's too much, to be honest. So I don't know, but for people that have got like a private landlord, I think if they need to increase your pay, if they need to increase your rates and stuff like that, that you should know beforehand. Or I don't really know about all this, but I'm just thinking that everything is just increasing this year, everything is just starting this year, and it's a lot to handle. Now, from my experience from letting agency, I can tell you that number one, or the main problem I've had from them, is delayed response. Okay, so whenever a repair is being needed in a house or in an apartment that you go through letting agency, you have to just ring them and then tell them what you need them to do, or whatever the problem is. So first of all, I had issues with my heating system, and then I called them. Like, it took a while to come. Okay, that was fine. I'm like, that's okay, I don't know, maybe you guys are busy. But then the one that got to me is one of my doors has like there's a split, you know, when you have a carpet in the house, and then there's a split there between the carpet and the door. So whenever it's the weather is very cold, we have like ants and something like snails coming in from outside to inside the room, like inside my house. So I was quite worried because I've got a baby. So I called the letting agency to try and fix this up. Guys, you wouldn't want to know what the story is about. Like, it was quite frustrating for them to keep me on a long wait, even up till now that I'm filming this video. So to me, the service I've got so far from letting agency, it's not quite fascinating, it's not very interesting, it is not intriguing, to be honest. So subjective to me, isn't it? So it depends on your experience. Someone else's experience might be different from mine, but this is where I draw my line. I was like, I'm not having this anymore because my baby is at risk. What if something crawls in and then she's eating them? What if something eats my baby? What if she gets maybe one of those ants and she's like, so what happens? So I think I don't really like the service I got from letting agencies. So that's why I am trying to share, and I'm trying to make my experience open here on my channel for my colleagues that might be coming into the country. So generally, very important, if you want to rent a house, make sure you research properly, be it landlord, be it letting agencies, because even private landlords, they've got like their own problems. Most landlords use letting agencies as well. So if you prefer using renting through a landlord, this might leave you to little or no option than to rent your house from an agency or from a company house. So yeah, that's it. So that's basically the video, to be honest, guys. That's everything, and I enjoyed making this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for seeing this video, and I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I hope I didn't take much of your time. So make sure you do subscribe down here on the subscribe button down here, guys, and make sure you keep your notifications bell on so you get to know when I post more videos. Thank you for watching. I see you next time.